Philippines is the world's most defended nation. But why? The Philippines is a nation of breathtaking beauty and rich culture. But beneath its tropical landscapes lies something remarkable, an unmatched level of defense. You might think of superpowers like America, China, or Russia when you hear about military strength, but the Philippines has a unique and highly strategic position. The nation is defended not just by its armed forces, but by geography, international alliances, and a history of warfare that has shaped its ability to withstand external threats. First, let's talk about geography. The Philippines is an archipelago in the Western Pacific, composed of more than 7,000 islands, stretching across 1,850 kilometers from north to south. It is flanked by the South China Sea to the west and the Pacific Ocean to the east, creating a natural maritime barrier. Unlike continental nations with long exposed borders, the Philippines is shielded by water, making large scale invasions a logistical nightmare. But what does this mean from a military and historical perspective? Throughout history, island warfare has been one of the most difficult forms of conflict. Conquering an island nation requires absolute naval superiority, advanced logistics, and sustained supply lines, things that have proven incredibly difficult for even the most powerful empires. Take the Mongols, for example. The Mongol Empire, one of the most formidable land based forces in history, failed twice to invade Japan in the 13th century. Despite their dominance over much of Asia, their fleets were devastated by the kamikaze typhoons, massive storms that wiped out their ships. Geography, coupled with Japan's determined resistance, ensured their survival. Now let's apply the same principle to the Philippines. Historically, any force attempting to conquer the Philippines had to navigate thousands of islands, unpredictable monsoon winds, and powerful ocean currents. This geographic complexity makes it nearly impossible for an invader to control the entire archipelago at once. Even during World War II, despite Japan's massive military power, it never fully controlled the Philippines. While Japan occupied major cities and strategic locations, it struggled to pacify the thousands of islands and dense jungles where Filipino and allied resistance forces waged relentless guerrilla warfare. The terrain, the sea, and the unwavering resilience of the Filipino people turned the war into a costly, drawn out struggle for the invaders. Furthermore, the Philippines has been a battleground for centuries. It has faced invasions from Spain, the Netherlands, America, and Japan. Yet, despite all these threats, the nation has remained standing, often due to the sheer tenacity and resourcefulness of its people. The history of the Philippines is deeply intertwined with its defense. Let's go back to 1521 when Ferdinand Magellan arrived. The locals, led by Lapu-Lapu, resisted and ultimately killed Magellan in the Battle of Mactan. This was the first recorded instance of Filipino resistance against foreign invaders, and it set the tone for centuries of defiance. The Filipinos' use of terrain guerrilla tactics and a strong sense of independence left an indelible mark on the country's defense legacy. Fast forward to the late 1800s, the Philippine Revolution against Spanish rule erupted, led by figures such as Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Aguinaldo, and Jose Rizal. The Filipino revolutionaries, despite having outdated weapons compared to the Spanish military, used guerrilla warfare, intimate knowledge of the terrain, and sheer willpower to fight back. They disrupted the Spanish forces, forcing them to spread thin across the islands. The revolutionaries did not just fight in open combat, they utilized intelligence networks, sabotage, and surprise attacks to create chaos in the Spanish ranks. Then came the Americans. In the American Philippine War, Filipinos again took to guerrilla tactics. They utilized the dense jungles, mountain ranges, and local knowledge to fight against a much better equipped US military. The war was marked by intense battles, atrocities, and the resilience of the Filipino forces, who continued to resist American occupation despite facing overwhelming odds. The US may have eventually controlled the Philippines, but the war proved the resilience of the Filipino people. World War II brought another wave of foreign invasion. In 1941, the Japanese invaded the Philippines, taking control much of the archipelago in a swift and brutal campaign. Yet, even after the fall of Bataan in 1942, Filipino and American guerrilla forces did not give up. Across the islands, underground movements and local militias continued to harass Japanese forces. They used the rugged terrain, thick jungles, and the mountainous regions and the isolated islands to their advantage. Filipino guerrilla fighters became legendary for their tactics, often working in small, highly mobile units, striking with precision and then vanishing into the forests. The Battle of Leyte Gulf in 1944, which was the largest naval battle of World War II, saw the return of General Douglas MacArthur and the liberation of the Philippines from Japanese occupation. But the price was high. Even after the major battles were won, the Philippines remain a stronghold for resistance. The Philippines' history is not just about battles fought on the ground or the sea. It is a testament to the resilience, adaptability, and the spirit of the Filipino people. From the jungles of Mactan to the mountains of Mindanao, the Filipino ability to resist, adapt, and fight against overwhelming odds is deeply embedded in the nation's identity. In the face of numerous invasions and occupations, from Spanish colonization to the Japanese occupation, the people of the Philippines have always found ways to defend their sovereignty. Of course, geography and history are just part of the equation. The Philippines also has a modern defense strategy. The armed forces of the Philippines consist of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. While it may not have the massive military budgets of superpowers, it has adapted to modern threats, focusing on defense strategies suited for an archipelagic nation. The Philippine Navy has developed a robust coastal defense strategy. With more than 7,000 islands, the Philippine waters are a critical part of its defense. The Navy has bolstered its fleet with modern patrol ships, missile boats, and submarines designed to safeguard its territorial waters and EEZ. These vessels are equipped with state of the art technology, including missile systems and anti submarine warfare capabilities. The Navy also works closely with allied nations, participating in joint exercises to improve interoperability and enhance maritime security. Additionally, the Philippines has been focusing on strengthening its maritime domain awareness by enhancing its surveillance and intelligence capabilities to detect and deter threats in its waters. The Philippine Air Force plays a crucial role in monitoring and defending the country's airspace, with regions increasing geopolitical tensions, especially in the South China Sea. The Air Force has focused on modernizing its fleet with advanced fighter jets, transport aircraft, and surveillance platforms. The PAF also conducts regular maritime patrols to monitor the vast archipelago. The Philippine Army is trained in a wide range of combat operations, with a particular focus on counterinsurgency and jungle warfare, given the country's history of internal conflict, and protect its maritime claims. In recent years, the PAF has been increasing its air defense capabilities with the acquisition of new air to air missiles. The Philippine Army is trained in a wide range of combat operations, with a particular focus on counterinsurgency and jungle warfare, given the country's history of internal conflicts. The army has had to contend with various armed groups, such as the Islamic militants, which has shaped its tactics, and training. Special units like the Scout Rangers and the Special Forces are highly skilled in unconventional warfare, capable of operating in difficult terrain like jungles, mountains, and urban environments. Another reason why the Philippines is so well defended, its international alliances. The Philippines has a mutual defense treaty with America, meaning that if an external power attacks the Philippines, the US is obliged to step in. This is a massive deterrent against foreign aggression. The country is also part of regional defense partnerships, including the ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting, and has grown security ties with countries like Japan and Australia. These alliances ensure that the Philippines is never truly alone in its defense. Throughout history, Filipinos have shown extraordinary resilience. Whether it's in times of natural disasters or economic hardships, they stand together, fight back, and rebuild. From the fierce resistance against foreign colonizers like the Spanish, Americans, and Japanese, to the recovery from devastating natural disasters such as typhoons and earthquakes, Filipinos have time and again proven their unyielding resolve. The 1986 People Power Revolution is a shining example of how peaceful unity and collective will can bring down oppressive regimes and restore democracy. But resilience is not just about surviving, it's about thriving. Filipinos, even in the face of adversity, continue to innovate and adapt. Their ingenuity have turned challenges into opportunities, whether it's in rebuilding after destruction or finding creative ways to support their families abroad. Filipinos are also known for their warmth and hospitality, whether welcoming visitors with open arms or providing help to others in need. The Philippines' spirit of solidarity is unmatched. Have you ever wondered why Filipinos are known worldwide for their bravery, hospitality, and resilience? It's because history has forged them into a people who never back down,